Hello people, welcome back to my channel. I'm out in nature, just going for a nice drive around, and I thought I'd do a video about the car, obviously, because that's all my channel's about, but mainly focusing on how much weight I've saved by making certain modifications, such as the carbon bonnet, such as the wheels. These aren't my lightest wheels. The ZF6s are lighter, those 18s by 2 kilos. I've obviously got the carbon boot on the car. So I'm going to go around and point at each item and describe which of those, what the stock weights were and what the aftermarket weight was and the total saving, because I think you'd be quite surprised because I've kept it pretty OEM plus, kind of. But inside I haven't stripped it out. I've gone crazy. It's subtly done. Yes, I don't have any back seats, which I'll show you in a minute if you've not seen that. So let's start with the wheels. So these are semi-forged or flow-formed, however you want to call it. So as I mentioned, these aren't my lightest wheels, so I'm going to go with the lightest weight. So the original front wheels, including tyres, were just over 48 kilograms, which is literally just over by point of a gram. And the rear ones were slightly heavier because this was a staggered, and still is a staggered setup. So the rear ones are 50 kgs. So they were pretty heavy stock wheels and tyres. They had the crappy run flats on there, which added extra weight. So moving to the two forge ZF6s, 9 in the front, 10s in the rear. They're 18s because they're smaller. Well, the actual weight of them, sorry. The aftermarket ones were 43.3 kilos for the front and for the rears, interestingly enough. So the total saving on the front has been 4.6 and on the rears 6.6. That's the 2 kilos difference between these ones that I'm showing you now and my slightly lighter two forged 18s. So that's a pretty impressive saving there. So those combined is what, 11.2 combined weight saving. So now moving on to the bonnet. So there was a video by Keys Motorsport and they must have bought a different carbon bonnet for Andrew's M340i when they're doing that up, because their modified bonnet, the carbon bonnet, was actually heavier than the stock bonnet. But in my case, when I weighed the stock bonnet, the aluminium bonnet, because they are lighter on the G20s, it was 17.69 kilos. And the new one, this carbon one, is 13.4. So that's a saving of 4.29 kilos on the bonnet. So again, I think that's a pretty good saving. You got the extra ventilation from the, obviously to help draw heat through, and it just looks sick. Camera footage doesn't do these bonnets justice. You need to see them in the flesh. They are pretty nice bonnets. So yeah, so that's the wheels and the bonnet. What else is important to talk about weight saving? Actually, let's talk about weight gaining. So these beautiful looking rotors behind here, these Zac Motorsports, they are a two-piece rotor with like a floating bell, so really good at handling heat. Now the original brakes that I had in there, the rotors were Brembos, and they were the two-piece Brembos. And because the metal's not as thick on the bell housing, this actually gained me weight. So these rotors, like I say, look really nice, look really good in my opinion. They actually increased the weight. So at the front they added 400 grams for the pair, and the rears added 800 grams for the pair, so 1.2 kilos of additional weight from adding these. So extra stopping power, yay! Extra weight, boo! So yeah, you can't win them all, so there's a little bit of extra weight gained there. Let's move on to the boot next, since I'm walking around the car. So there is the beautiful carbon boot. So this boot, the stock one, I was actually quite surprised by how heavy the stock boot was. The stock boot was 14 kilos, pretty much bang on. And the carbon one is only 6 kilos. 6 kilos, that's nothing, 6. So a total weight saving from switching out the boot lid of 8 kilos, and I moved everything across, so the line has gone across, all the functionality has gone across. I will talk about the negatives of putting a carbon boot on if you've got an electric boot. So let me quickly show you the problem here. So I've got an electric tailgate, which I think most are European spec, I don't know American spec. cars have. So there you go. So there's the electric boot, opened up nicely. Right, I want to shut it. Everything starts nice, and pop back up again. So because there isn't the weight that you have with the original bonnet, this isn't a bonnet, it'd be weird if it was, because you don't have the weight of the original boot, and obviously the locking mechanism here is dependent on a certain amount of weight pushing down on it, and obviously that weight's no longer there. So what you have to do when you shut your boot is you have to do like a Hulk Hogan, whatever it is, not interested in, elbow drop, then you have to hold your elbow there just until it locks. So if you want to get a carbon boot, just be wary that there are things that you have to consider. Let's do the interior. Let's start with the boot. The boot, what is wrong with me today? We've done the boot. Well, we've kind of done the boot, actually need to revisit the boot. Let's start with the back seats. Began with a B, just not a boot. So, took the back seats out because no one's really using the car for the back seats. I thought, why even have them? And I was surprised by the amount of weight this actually saved. 60/40 split folding with a ski hatch. Don't know if that's the standard in these. The rear seats came to 25.2 kilos, and that delete kit's only 3, so that's 22.2 kilos just from removing the rear seats. Now, you don't have to put rear seat delete in, you can just take them out, but again, I was wanting to keep it looking quite subtle and say OEM plus inside, so I didn't really want to you know, just leave it completely blank. And then when you've got the doors shut and you've got the windows open, it looks really neat because you just don't have that cut out. Moving on to the front of the car. Yeah, you got that right. I've then got the beautiful seats in, so let's look at the weight saving there. Opens it up. So these are, I believe it's pronounced Nagaros. So I've got 2 of these, one either side. They are a fiberglass seat, not a carbon fibre, because carbon fibre dropped a couple of kilos off, but the problem with carbon fibre is it costs an absolute fortune in seats, almost 3 times the cost. So both seats combined with the mounting kits, with the floor mounting kits, came to actually bang on 20 kilos for both seats. That's for the pair, that's everything gone in there. The stock seats total 46.6 kilos, right, for the pair, and I've got lumbar support. They are manual seats as well, so they're not even electric seats. So obviously if you're going to take out electric seats, you're going to save a ton more weight because you've obviously got all the motors and everything else in there under the seat as well. So pretty big saving there. Where else did we make 7s? I like a good 7. I'm trying to think. So the last upgrade is less visible, and this had a massive weight saving. So this was actually the Touge, is it Touge 500? I forget the name of it now, battery. So under here, because I've got all this weight on it, so under here you can see this battery. That's what I'm going to do, is lift that up to there. This is much lighter. It goes in the stock position. You have to modify a bracket to hold it in, which if you watch my other videos you'll see that. I then put some racing foam underneath the top piece just to put a bit of lightly put some pressure on it. So the stock battery was actually 26.6 kilos. Okay, that's really heavy. And that Touge, yes, it is small. It is a 5.2 kilo battery. I've had this car sat for a month, and the battery's only just started to die then. So I've got the super fast charger from Deadweight Industries as well. That'll charge the battery from dead in an hour and a half to full. If you want to hear the grand total, so I'll start with the grand total of the standard parts that I listed through there. So if you add them all up, that's 270.09 kgs. And with those changes, I've reduced that down to 177.6 kgs. So that is a massive saving. I think it's pretty massive when I talk about how heavy I am as a driver in stone, because that's what we do in the UK, we work in stone. So that's a 92.49 kg savings by making those modifications. I think that's pretty impressive. I think that's pretty impressive, baby. Because if you turn that to stone, it's 14.56 stone. As I mentioned, in the UK, US people probably won't understand this, but we tend to weigh humans in stone. And I'm 13 stone bang on. So when I'm driving the car, you know when you have a second passenger and your car feels a lot slow because you might have another 13, 14 stone in your car. When I get my car and drive it, it's like there's no one in it. From a weight perspective, and I'm still saving what was that 1.56 stone on top of that. So, you know, by reducing the weight, it should be more nimble, accelerating should be better on the track. Obviously it's lowered, it's got those other mods and all that good stuff. So thanks for watching my channel. Hope this was of use, and stay tuned for more.